Like Nigeria and many countries across the continent, businesses and consumers often rely on private diesel generators for reliable access to electricity. But these generators are both expensive and leave their owners reliant upon diesel or gasoline inputs. Renewable energy installations don't require these expensive fuels, but they've so far been too expensive to build out. Well, an international company, Husk Power Systems, says that they can develop renewable mini-grids at the community level while still making a profit. The company announced that it became a bit profitable in the last quarter of last year in Nigeria and in India. The company now operates 12 self-reliant mini-grids across Nigeria that serve 50,000 customers, and they're hoping to expand their footprint fivefold by the end of the current year. Let's speak now to Brad Mattson, who is the board chairman and the chief strategy officer of Husk Power Systems. Good morning to you, Brad, out there in the United States. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here in Lagos, Nigeria. It's heading to about after 7 in the evening.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you. Thank you very much. How did Husk Power Systems achieve this profitability last year? And what are some of the key line items that you can talk to us about? Give me the backstory.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a journey, and it started many years ago where we had to figure out how to get profitable at even one site, just go do one mini grid installation. It took years to develop the business model so we'd be profitable. But as we progressed, we found that and within a few months, we could go from the initial installation and generate enough demand that we'd have profitability at that site. So that happened a few years ago. Since then, it's just been a numbers game. Basically, we have certain overhead, corporate overhead, and we need enough sites to cover that corporate overhead. We get a certain margin for each site. And for India, that was 150 sites where we needed, and we got to that threshold this year. And therefore, we hit EBITDA profitability at that point in time. We were a little hampered by COVID. We dropped our growth rate from about 100% a year it was previously to 60%. So that delayed us for a year or two, but we finally got to our scale needed to cover overhead and therefore overall profitability in both India and in Nigeria.
Interesting about your operations, Brad. How did you navigate Nigeria's tough operating environment so far? What innovations have you been able to onboard to achieve your profitability level and moving forward?
Well, I think the first key component is that Husk Nigeria is manned 100% by Nigerians. And they really have the local knowledge, the capability to how to do business in that market. And we find in each country we operate, you really have to know how business is done there. Then also there was help from the government. The regulatory framework that NERC put in place and the environment created by the Renewable Energy Agency and some of the other support agencies like NACIDA really helped. So that all together got us going. And as far as on the innovation side, what we really did is took advantage of the proprietary technology and innovative business models that we pioneered in India. And we found that they transferred beautifully to Nigeria. In fact, our Nigerian team accomplished in 6 months what it took our India team 6 years to accomplish. So we're very, very excited about our results and our future in Africa. Of course, innovation is not over. We continue to develop lower cost technology and innovative business models to expand our work and our footprint in Africa.
Well, if you look at India, for example, let's chat briefly to your operations in India. You're talking about 1.2, 1.3 billion people. Are there learning curves from India that you think Sub-Saharan Africa can leverage as far as mini-grid is concerned?
Oh, absolutely. We learned a lot from our operations in India, from the importance of site selection. So where we put the mini-grid is really important to make sure there's adequate demand. How to build them, at the lowest possible cost. Therefore, we've got to bring our CapEx down. And after you have them installed, then you need to be able to operate them. And we found that almost complete automation of the operations and maintenance is key in order to get a viable OpEx. So we need to keep our CapEx down and OpEx down. And finally, there were a lot of customer interventions in terms of what we had to do in terms of working with customers to meet their needs and make them happy. And the whole customer experience, even that had to be automated in terms of how we would maintain our low costs. So far, 100% of all those learnings that we did in scaling up India have been applicable to Africa. And a lot of what we learned there, we've documented into an industry roadmap, which we published in November, that talks about the specific KPIs, the key performance indicators we use to drive that in terms of OPEX and CAPEX and utilization factors of our equipment and the average revenue per unit. All these things have been put into a roadmap that guides what we do, and for the next 10 years till 2030. So we're sharing that with the industry because we really need a lot of companies to achieve this sustainability goal for the sector to really flourish.
Yeah, Nigeria is big. Are you looking at other big economies in Africa to put your footprints? DR Congo, Ethiopia, massive population, but very huge energy gap. What are you looking at?
Yes, absolutely. I think, though, short term, let's say for the next year or two, between the populations in India and Nigeria, we have quite a bit of a challenge. We have quite a bit of work there still to keep that up. So I'd say that right now, those two, but we're looking at several markets in Africa in terms of our third and fourth countries we're going to, but we won't probably pursue those right now.
Well, we have the global energy transition is getting more steam. What more would Husk Power Systems be doing to consolidate on your current success and reach for new frontiers in renewable energy?
Well, I think that we believe that we've unlocked a code on the fundamental industry issue, and that's just having a viable business model. You know, for years, it's struggled. Utility business, as you know, already struggle to make any money if they do. And if you take a small scale utility business, that's even worse. So it hasn't been easy, but we believe we've basically achieved that objective. And now what really the issue is scaling. Because obviously you wouldn't want to take an unprofitable business model and scale that. So you need the sustainability, you need that scalable, the profitability before you could scale. Now we've scaled 10x over the last 4 years, but that is really just the beginning. And we only have 150 mini-grids, let's say. And the World Bank has published that the Africa may need as much as 200,000 mini-grids. So now the issue is really scale. We have to scale again at least 10x over the next 4 years. And that would just be the beginning. We want to scale 10x beyond that. So it really is a huge scaling challenge.
Okay, thank you for your time, Brad Mattson, Board Chairman and Chief Strategy Officer at Husk Power Systems. We congratulate you and wish you all the best as you do a whole lot more on the continent, at least here and in Asia. Thank you so much and have a great day out there in California. Thank you.